Hey Awaken friends, it's Chris here and welcome to your flow. This is kind of a different flow because we're doing it in the office at lunch with the Awaken team centered just behind the camera. So I'll be talking both to the camera, to our team scattered around the world, to the team in the office and to anybody else who's watching this. When you're ready, if you can start just down your mat and we're going to come to our knees into a nice hero's pose and start to just dial and center in to our breath. And I invite you to start to feel your breath flowing and moving in and out. In whichever way it does, we're going to have no judgment here. We listen, we don't judge to our breath as it moves in and out. And without framing it or trying to force it in any way, maybe start to inquire, is there a longer inhale? Is there a longer exhale? Is it moving in through the nose, out through the mouth? How's it starting to move? How's it showing up for you? And as you move your attention through really focusing on the breath, what would it be like to expand that inhale and start to feel the inhale on your backs of your lungs, under your shoulder blades, maybe the sides of your ribs lifting up as you move that inhale, and as you exhale, contracting in just a little bit. Maybe there's a bit more movement through your stomach. And let this inhale start to just lift you up. And the eyes might soften as you just connect in. And as we sit, just starting to cycle this breath, we'll get ready for this nice little air-inspired flow. A bit of movement, a bit of connection, flowing in a nice sync. We created this class to create a bit of balance, a bit of movement. And to anybody else watching this online, if you don't already subscribe, please subscribe. Always forget to say that. But now as we begin to soften in, let's bring our breath in through our nose and keeping our mouth shut out through our nose. And this time, as the breath starts to move, let's bring our hands up to the side and our fingertips will raise up above our heads on the inhale, fingertips touching, and exhale. Our hands will come down and our thumbs will just gently graze past our heart center and open up. Inhale, the hands move again, fingertips above our heads, gaze is moving up, and gracefully bringing our hands down. And this time as we arrive at heart center, just pressing in a little bit firmer into our chest. And exhale, fully opening down. Inhale, a big inhale, lifting those side ribs, hands come all the way up above our head, and exhale halfway down to where your hands are at heart center and press in a little bit more firmly into your heart center here. And then exhale fully down. Now as we let the breath just cycle through that same type of movement, try to bring your attention down to that space that you've pressed quite firmly into your heart center. And for the rest of this class, try to bring your awareness back to here every so often. If your thoughts start to drift off to emails, moments, to-do lists, project management tool updates, just bring it back to this attention here at your heart center. And now coming up onto our knees, let's lift our hips up so that we're sitting up straight. And I want you to raise your hands with me on the inhale. Hands, fingertips come up above our head, and exhale, cactusing our hands open, opening our chest with a gentle back bend of chest open. And exhale down. Sitting back down, we're going to bring our hands back behind our hips and down our fingertips just behind our feet. And we're just going to bridge our hips up, just opening that chest a little bit. And exhale down. Coming back up with our hips stacking above our knees, and we raise our fingertips up. Fingertips touch above our head, and exhale. Cactusing down. Nice gentle bend. Really open that chest. Feel that juicy movement through the shoulders. And then exhale. Coming back. And then fingertips behind as we raise up. Pressing up. Feel those shoulders rolling open into nice external rotation. Hips back down. And come up one more time. Back up, hips stacking over knees. Nice length through the spine. Fingertips raise up above our head. And exhale, cactus. Maybe a little bit more movement through the chest here. Gentle back bend opening. And then coming down. Fingertips behind. And pressing up. And feeling that nice opening That nice bridge. And exhale down. Hands to the top of your mat, tucking the toes, and let's lift up into downward facing dog. And arriving here, pedaling out your dog, starting to step it through, feeling that nice connection. Make it a bit animalistic. Make a bit of movement through here so it doesn't feel forced, it doesn't feel moving. Maybe bending the elbows and the knees, stepping it out, maybe preserving a nice deep bend in your knees to help that lower back not have pressure on it. It's early. Us in the office have all been sitting all morning. So this is a nice way just to come into yourself. And arriving back to center, let's come up to the balls of our feet and step, tiptoe, 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 very slowly to the top of the mat and fold forward. Nice generous bend in the knees just to keep that nice rounding of the spine. And then slowly, ever so slowly, with a nice articulation in the spine, stack it vertebra by vertebra all the way up to standing. Rolling the shoulders open, palms coming to the front of the room, and arrive into Tadasana. And feel that strength through your upper thighs, feet gripping into the ground. You're a mountain. It's a mountain pose. We've arrived. Fingertips glide up to the sky, arriving above our head. Exhale as we hinge at the hips and we forward fold, preserving that spine as we come down with a nice bend in our knees, so there's not too much pressure. Inhale, fingertips below the kneecaps to lengthen out the spine into a forward lift. And exhale, down. Hands to the mat and stepping back to a plank pose. Arriving in our plank pose to hold for a moment here. Heels are moving towards the back of the room. Hips are in alignment. If this is too much, you can bring the knees down to the ground. But when you're ready, we're going to gracefully lower down, elbows grazing past the chest as we arrive down to the ground. And taking a moment here, hands come underneath our shoulders, and we're going to press up gently into a cobra pose and exhale down. Inhale back up, and as we rise this time, maybe lifting the hands to see what it feels like and just to engage the back muscles, building that strength, and exhale down. And really pressing through our feet this time and lifting those hands up for a moment or pressing them down and coming to a full extension into an upward dog. And exhale, coming through plank pose or rolling over the toes and arriving back into your downward facing dog. And take a breath to center yourself in here. Really feel into your space, into your moment. And with that non-judgment, how is everything working for you today? How is your body showing up? How are you showing up on the mat? And just congratulate yourself for making time to arrive and to carve out this time for you. Coming up to the balls of our feet, we're going to tiptoe, 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 ever so slowly to the top of the mat. Fingertips will come just below the knees as we lengthen out our spine and exhale, folding down. Inhale, bending the knees, raising the hands up in one fluid movement. Hands will raise up above, fingertips touch, and then hands coming down, thumbs gracefully touch our heart center as we fold all the way down to a forward fold. Inhale, fingertips on the floor this time for lengthening out the spine, and then exhale, step back to plank pose and hold. Heels moving towards the back of the room. Really feel that strength. And then coming down through chaturanga, which is just bending our elbows almost to this nice 90-degree angle here, and then pressing up into an upward facing dog if you feel it, or going all the way down for a cobra. And exhale, roll over the toes and come back into our downward facing dog. And stabilize yourself here. Your hips are moving further up to the sky. You've got that nice bend in the knees. And our shoulders are rolling open and down. Coming up to the balls of our feet, we're going to hop, skip, teleport, or step back up to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, fingertips just below the kneecaps to lengthen the spine. And exhale, folding down. Inhale, one movement, coming up, hands float up above our heads. And exhale, fingertips past heart center as we fold down. Lifting up on the inhale, lengthening out the spine to a forward lift. And then exhale, hands down. And you may choose to step or jump back to our plank pose. holding plank pose with heels moving towards the back of the room. Just focusing on those hips to keep them in nice alignment with our body. And then exhale, coming all the way down to the ground and lifting up into a cobra pose. Exhale down, back up through plank pose, hinging at the hips, and arrive into our downward facing dog. Take one nice big deep breath in here. And on the exhale, bring your knees down to the ground and arrive into a plank pose. Not plank, sorry, tabletop. Very different one. Sorry about that. As we arrive into our tabletop position, we're going to take a nice centering breath, really focusing on where our spine is here. That it's not bending, it's not open, but I invite you just to bend your spine quite a lot. Articulate it almost like a cow position, just so you can really feel into that to where it is, and then come back to more of a lengthened, straight or neutral position. Then, bringing your right foot out behind you, gaze back just to make sure the toes are pointing towards the ground. Left hand comes out in front, and lengthen out from both positions. Really feel that length and strength, and stretch, and hand down. Left foot comes out behind us, toes pointing down to the ground. Right hand comes out in front, and lengthen out. Almost feel like you can reach out from your heel, from your fingertips. You're getting longer, you're growing, and exhale down. And coming back to a centering position, hips are stacking over knees, and just look down just to make sure that your knees are in alignment with your wrists. Everything's kind of lining up here. It's got a good position. Right foot comes out, toes pointing down to the ground, making sure that's coming out from our hip and not up or down. Left hand comes out, and this time bend the right knee so your foot comes up behind you. And then opening your left hand around so it does a nice external rotation. Try to turn your hand down and grab your ankle and hold for a moment. This nice little mini bow stretch, mini dancer's variation. So we just hold here and exhale, release. And coming to the other side, left foot floats up, left toes pointing down, right hand comes out. And we've got our right palm facing towards our head. And as we turn it, turn your thumb down towards the ground and move it around. And this puts your shoulder in an external rotation so that you can grip the inside of your ankle. And then if you've got that, pressing up through the leg a little bit, pressing it away while you're pulling it back. And exhale, coming down. Sitting back to the heels, take a nice child's pose, wide-legged or closed knees together, whatever feels good for you. Just stretch in. Take a deep breath. Center in. And feel that nice balance connection. Coming back to center. Hands back in full alignment. And we're going to go through that one more time. Just for a bit of fun. Right foot will float up to the sky, right toes pointing down to the ground. Left hand coming out, so the palm's facing inwards towards your head, turning the thumb down to the ground and bending the right foot up, bringing the left hand around, grip your ankle or your foot and press up a little bit. Pressing up, feel the balance, feel the wobble, feel the shake, and exhale, let it go. And flowing to the other side, left foot comes up, left toes pointing to the ground, right hand comes out, palm facing inwards to your body, turn the thumb down towards the ground, right hand wraps around as left knee bends, bringing the foot up behind you, and grab the inside of the ankle. And press away with the foot while you're gripping back with the hand, kind of pulling and pushing. Nice double action. And exhale, bring it down. And sit back, and maybe if you took wide leg child's pose before, now you take a closed leg child's pose. And head down to the ground. And breathe in here. Feel the moment, feel the space, feel those hips opening. And inhale, coming back up to your tabletop position, hands to the top of the mat, toes will tuck underneath, and we lift up into a downward facing dog. Center in here as you take a nice deep inhale, rolling those shoulders back, tailbone lifting up towards the sky, and connect into your space for some flow. Coming to the ball of the left foot, right foot will float up to the sky. Right knee will come through the chest, keeping it really high as you're pressing through the hands. Right toes up to right thumb. And we're going to flip our back left foot open to 45 degrees as we rise up into a warrior one. And bringing our hands down, framing the right foot back to left, pressing up into a downward dog. So keeping this movement going, coming to the ball of the right foot, left foot floats up to the sky. Left knee comes through the chest, left toes up to left thumb, right foot to 45 degrees so our hips move towards the front of the room as we arrive into our warrior one. Left knee tracking over that ankle, keeping our attention there, and exhale, hands down. Left foot back to right at the back of the mat and pressing straight up into downward facing dog. And take a breath here. Nice deep breath in and out. Coming to the ball of the left foot, right foot will float up to the sky. Right knee coming through the chest, right toes to right thumb. Left foot opens to 45 degrees, and we rise up into warrior one. And then bringing our hands down to flow past us as our chest comes forward. Inhale as we come up, and as our hands move up, we're going to step the left foot up to the right foot and come down into a chair's pose. Now with this chair pose, can you just bend your back a little bit so you can really feel what a bent back feels like? And then we're going to aim to lengthen, hips moving back to the back of the room. Toes are together, front big toes are together. Heels are apart. And we're feeling strength here. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to the ground, and step back to our plank pose. Knees will come down, forearms will come down, and breathe, open and up into an up dog or cobra, and exhale to downward facing dog. Coming to the ball of the right foot, left foot will float up to the sky, left knee up through the chest, and left toes to left thumb. Right foot opens to 45 degrees as we arrive into our warrior one. Hands flow down, flowing past us like that nice air element. Inhale as the hands come back, and then step the right foot up to just next to left. Big toes touch as we sit down into a chair pose. And breathe in here, preserving that lower back, preserving the spine. And then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, fingertips to the mat, putting the palms down as you step back to our plank pose. Bringing our knees down, our forearms will float down to the ground, and we're going to breathe up through a lunar lift. Nose is close to the ground, lifting up into an up dog or a cobra, and roll over the toes to downward facing dog. And take a breath in here. Center in to your space. Going to the ball of the left foot, right foot floats up to the sky. Right knee comes up through the chest. Right toes to right thumb. Left foot to 45 degrees as we flow our hands up. Bringing our hands down just to glide past our leg. And coming back up. This time we bring our hands down so palms face backwards so the inside of the palms face each other, and bring the hands around behind. The right thumb on top as we grip open into this nice bound position, and we're just going to fold down. In a fold position. If you would like to take your shoulder lower, you can move the knee out to the side. Otherwise, just resting on top is perfectly fine. It's wherever you are. If you do take the shoulder down, just inquire to make sure your hips are in nice alignment here. Everything's as straight as you can be. Nothing can be perfectly straight, but as it can. And then inhale, raising up. And dropping your microphone pack on the ground at the same time. And hands down to the ground. Framing the right foot back to left. Knees come down. Forearms come down. And breathe up through a lunar into an up dog or cobra, and exhale back to downward facing dog. And other side. Coming to the ball of the right foot, left foot will float up to the sky. Left knee will come up through the chest. Left toes to left thumb. Right foot to 45 degrees and rising up into warrior one. Hands flow with us, flying down back behind us, and then raising back up. Hands coming down to heart level, palms facing the reverse to each other, and then bring them around, rolling those shoulders open to external rotation, and then with the left thumb on top, grip them together, and then fold down into a nice humble warrior. And you may choose to move your left foot out to the side a little bit if you want to bring that shoulder down, but just preserving your space. Arms can be flowing back behind you or up high, whatever feels good at this point. Inhale, raising back up. Fingertips above us into our warrior one. And exhale, hands down, framing that left foot. Left foot back to right. Knees come down. Forearms come down. And breathe up into your up dog, cobra, or any expression. And exhale to downward facing dog. And at any time, you can go straight to dog. You can go through child's pose. You do you. It's what feels good, what you need today. And coming to the balls of our feet, we're going to bring our knees down to the ground and sit back to a child's pose, because it actually just sounds good as I said it. And legs open or close, and take a nice deep centering breath. Inhale and exhale. Take a nice centering deep breath in, and then we'll arrive coming back to downward facing dog. It's kind of unique teaching a class and recording a class for online at the same time. Because normally I look at a camera, but I'm kind of looking all around the room at the same moment. Coming back into downward facing dog. I'm rising up onto the balls of our feet. Let's float the right foot up to the sky. Bringing the right toes up to the right thumb. We're going to rise up into warrior one. And from here, we'll pivot open to warrior two. And turning the back foot to 90 degrees, breathing in here, and feel like you're just taking a deep breath in a little bit as your hands move out. And as you exhale, what would it be like if you go a little bit deeper? Just a little bit deeper, feeling into that space, keeping those hips centered, feeling them just moving open. And then flipping the front palm and the back, let's fly up, straightening the front leg to flying warrior. And exhale, opening down. Pivoting all the toes around so they're facing to the side of the mat. And then a wide leg forward fold. Just folding, hinging from the hips. Coming down, hands underneath you, supporting you on the mat. And breathe in here. Yeah, that's perfect. And if this is feeling too strong, you can bend the knees a little bit as well. Whatever feels good. If the hamstring and the connectors there are a bit tight, feel into your space. So you're not putting pressure on your lower back. Inhale. Here as we halfway lift, bending the knees just slightly and raising back all the way up. So our fingertips come above our head, back to our flying warrior. Pivoting around to the front of the mat, and hands will come down to the ground. Framing the right foot, left knee will come down to the ground. We're going to rise up into an Ardha Anjaneyasana, a lowered crescent lunge. And from here, can you just open your hands back into those nice cactus arms, and then breathe the hands back up. And open them into nice cactus arms, and breathe through them, bringing them back up. And open them into nice cactus arms. And then as we bring our hands down this time, untuck the toes from your back left foot, lifting the right foot up. We're going to straighten it just slightly for an Ardha Hanuman. And then breathe forward. Coming back to an Ardha Anjaneyasana. And then coming back. And finding a spot here that's not too hard or not too much pressure onto your hamstrings. And coming forward. But it's just adding a little bit of depth, a little bit of movement, and coming down. And for this one, we'll just hold for a moment. Nice deep breath in. Bring your attention down to the hamstring, down to the quads, the calf, wherever you feel this. And coming forward. Hands down, framing the right foot back to left. Your hips are already halfway there, so just bring them down towards the heels. Forearms come down to the ground and breathe up into your cobra or your upward facing dog. And exhale over the toes and back to downward facing dog. And moving to the other side, coming to the ball of the right foot, left foot will float up to the sky. Left knee will come up through the chest and left toes to left thumb, opening up with our back foot to 45 degrees to a warrior one. And we arrive there pivoting open to a warrior two. And again, feeling like our arms are coming out from our shoulders, length here, breathe up into this, taking a nice little bit of a breath in, then maybe your exhale takes you a little bit deeper, and really focusing to make sure your knee is tracking over your ankle. Flipping both hands, straightening the front leg as we fly up for flying warrior. And then pivoting all toes for a wide leg forward fold. This way too, so I'm not facing the back. And folding down. Taking a breath here. Maybe if it feels nice, bringing your hands out to your ankles so you can just breathe in a little bit deeper. And see how that feels. And then in one fluid movement, flying up, fingertips coming up above our head, and then turning around to the front foot, hands coming down to the ground. I'll flip because we're on the other side now, and arriving into your Anjane Asana. Hands coming up. And then bringing our hands down to cactus those arms. Really feel that through your back shoulders, your shoulder blades, the movement there. And hands coming through with a nice air, like a gust of wind, cactusing down and then moving through. Coming up and cactusing down. And this time as it comes down, we're going to untuck the toes. You may choose to keep them tucked if it feels nicer for you. And just flowing back into our Ardha Hanuman. And coming forward and up and flow back. A little bit deeper, a little bit more of a stretch. And back up and forward. And coming back and holding this deeper place for just a moment. Take a nice centering breath here. And coming back forward. Hands framing the left foot back to right. Your hips are already halfway there. Hips back down towards your heels. Forearms down to the ground and breathe up. Into an up dog. And arrive back. Go through child's pose. Go to wherever feels good for you. And land back in downward facing dog. And coming to the ball, the left foot, right foot floats up to the sky. Right knee comes through our chest. Right toes to right thumb. Opening up to warrior one. Back foot's 45 degrees. And after we arrive there, flowing back to warrior two. Holding our warrior two here, flipping both palms, fly up to flying warrior. All toes pivot to the side of the mat and fold forward. All the way down. Inhale to halfway lift, really feeling the extension through your spine here. And exhale, fold a little bit deeper. Bending the knees slightly, one movement flying back up to our flying warrior, fingertips touch. And then pivoting around so that we can frame the right foot with our hands as our left knee lowers. And our hands rise back up to Ardha Anjaneyasana. And then cactus down. Flying those hands through like a nice gust of wind. Fingertips pointing to the sky and cactus down. And one more flow through. Hands come round. Flying up and cactus down. Feel the opening through your shoulder blades, through your back. And then fingertips down to the ground, toes tucked or untucked, and flow back to your Ardha Hanuman. And coming forward, back up to Anjaneyasana, and flow back. And flow forward, and then flow back. Last time, little hold, just a little baby hold. And then hands coming forward, arriving in Anjaneyasana. Hands frame the right foot back to next to left. Hips move back, and then forearms come down and breathe up into your upward facing dog. And exhale over the toes, and back to downward facing dog. Take a nice centering breath in here. Feel those shoulders opening up a lot more with all those cactuses. Into the ball of the right foot, left foot floats up to the sky. Left knee comes through the chest and arrives up next to our left thumb. And we arrive up into our warrior one. Took me a moment there, I forgot where I was going. And then open up into warrior two. And breathe. Flip both palms and fly up to flying warrior. And pivot all toes to the side of the mat and fold forward. and down. Take a breath in as you lift up and extend out from the spine, and exhale, go a bit lower. One movement, bending the knees so we don't put pressure on them. Lift up into our flying warrior, pivoting around so the left foot's facing forward. Hands come down, framing the left foot, right knee to the ground, and rise up into your Ardha Anjaneyasana. And cactus those hands. Cactus the shoulder blades. Flow them forward and back up. Exhale, cactus down, bringing the shoulders down, making them move. And inhale, come forward. And last time for a cactus, last one of the day. Cactus down, fingertips down, toes tucked or untucked. Move through your Ardha Hanumanasana. Hips move back, and then breathe forward. Hips going back, and gracefully flowing forward. And last time here, moving back, feeling the stretch through all the hamstrings, all the connective tissues, and coming forward. Fingertips framing left foot back to right. Hips move back just slightly. Forearms come down and breathe up and through. Flowing back over the toes and arriving back into your downward facing dog. And it's feeling a lot juicier after all of that movement, the folds and everything else. Bringing our knees down wide to the edges of the mat. Let's sit back to a nice child's pose. Forehead to the ground and breathe in here. Deep breath in, deep breath out. And when you feel like you've just centered into your next breath, let's tuck the toes and meet in downward facing dog. And I invite you just to come to the balls of your feet and tiptoe to the top of your mat. And we're going to roll up very slowly, ever so slowly, and arrive in Tadasana, back to our mountain pose. And then bringing our feet just wider, almost to the edges of the mat, or wherever feels nice for you, for a little squat. We're going to start to slowly bring this down. So just ever so slowly, hands on our hips, bringing it down, and maybe hanging out here for just a moment, just into a nice hip opening space. And when you're ready, and if it feels right for you, you can go a little bit lower, down into a yogic squat. To wherever feels nice here. So we've got this nice moment. Maybe elbows are on the inside, on the outside. And I'd like you to bring your fingertips just down in front of you. And then bring your left knee down to the ground. And then bring it back up. And we're just going to roll from knee to knee down to the ground, just opening these hips. So as we touch one knee down, come back, and then what would it be like to bring your weight back across and start to feel just a little bit of an opening here, as we're just opening these hips in a different movement pattern that we probably don't often do. And then coming back to our center, to our nice Malasana squat, bringing our hands down in front of us. We're quite open, we're quite ready. We're going to bring our knees to the back of our triceps and potentially move to a crow pose. Now, crow preparation is knees are going to come back almost to our armpits, or they can be anywhere that's going to give you stability. But try to bring the knees onto the triceps. Hands are facing forward, fingers are facing forward. Your big main pointer finger is pointing to the front of the room. As you move, we're going to bend the elbows. And I invite you to keep your toes on the ground. And if it feels right, lift one foot. Lift the other foot. Lift one foot. Lift the other. And if it feels good, you can roll a little bit further forward. Now, this movement is all about keeping your balance. So you're as far forward as you are back. So you're really just balancing in there in that moment. And as you do this, it's really about leaning and having the trust that your head and your chest are so far forward that you're just balancing. And there's a little bit of pressure in your wrists, but it's just moving into there. And it may happen today, it may not happen today, but it's all about a little bit of crow movement and crow preparation for there. Yeah, that's it. And so again, that's coming from your Malasana, from your squat. So if you're in your nice squat, in your yogic squat, bring your hands down just in front of us. And so our knees are almost, if we start moving our feet forward, our knees are in this nice spot that are almost nestled into our armpits here, or at the higher part of our triceps. And then bending our elbows, keeping our elbows moving towards the back of the room. Knees are on top. And it's one foot or the other. And the reason we do one foot or the other is because that's about teaching you where your chest is moving towards. And giving you that moment so that you're just moving there. Yeah. And when you're ready, bring your knees down to the ground, sitting back to the heels and folding into a nice child's pose. And letting go of all that craziness of balancing. And again, all of this is fun and it's a setup and it'll gradually happen. And most of these poses, it's more about the balance than about any strength or holding. Good core strength, good ability is great for all of these poses to keep you in nice alignment, but really it's the balance movements, because once you're balancing, then you can hang out there for a while. And when you're ready, tucking the toes, we're going to come back through downward dog. And we're going to tiptoe to the top of the mat, arriving back into our Tadasana together. And because it's a bit of fun, and I think it's worthwhile, we're going to drive our right foot into the ground. And we're going to lift our left knee up. And we're going to bring our left foot up behind us. And wherever you're used to going, if you've ever done dances before, it's about gripping the ankle here. We bring our hand up. And before we move further forward, it's about bringing our chest towards the front of the room. And we begin to move forward. Bring that chest out and proud. And then you can lift the leg a little bit if that feels right. You can grip in. You're pressing away as you're gripping in that nice bow kind of setup that we started earlier. And you've got your chest open and bright. You don't need to go to a full extension. For here, it's just about stretching in, feeling where you want to go, feeling the wobble, feeling the space, feeling the stretch into your dances. And exhale, let it go. And other side. Left foot grips into ground, right knee comes up to chest, moving your right ankle behind you, gripping it with the inside of your palm, your thumbs facing towards your knee, left hand comes up. And again, from here, it's about your chest moving to the front of the room. You don't have to point your chest to the ground. If you keep your chest moving to the front of the room, you'll have more space. You keep a micro bend in your left knee, and you lift that leg and press the leg away as you're gripping to really feel it. Stay or come out of it. And shake it out. Shake out your hips. Shake out your movements. And join me back down on the mat, seated on the mat in however you want to arrive. And when we arrive here, we're going to bring our left foot out in front of us to this nice 90 degrees in front of us, and our right foot out to the side to 90 degrees. So right foot is to the side of your mat, left foot's in front, both at 90 degrees. And this is our deer pose. So this is better for your knees than pigeon pose, straight pigeon pose, which pigeon pose over time can really damage knee joints. So as we breathe in here, take a deep breath in, and then slowly move forward over the leg to wherever feels comfortable. And hang out here. Center into your space, your movement, your breath. And when you're ready, slowly coming up out of that, bring your left hand down to the ground. We're going to bring our left knee just behind it, the inner arch of our right foot pressing down to the ground. We're going to press up into this nice side plank opening. Or kind of like a Jane Fonda flash dance movement. And stretch here. And then exhale. Right hand down to the ground. Knees come back, sitting over to the other side. And we'll do the other side of deer. So right foot out in front of us, Left foot out behind. And then taking a breath in here. This side's a lot tighter for me, my hips. Exhale, fold forward. To wherever feels good. You can keep the chest high if that's feeling too much pressure on your hips or any of the connective tissues there. Otherwise, roll down and feel this nice juicy stretch. And coming up slowly, right hand down to the ground. Inner arch the left foot to the back of the mat. Knees coming just into alignment with our wrist. You may bring it out, the foot out slightly behind you, which lets you press up to this nice side plank variation. I call it flash dance. I like it because it's like a Jane Fonda special pose. And exhale, left hand down to the ground. And coming all the way down, we're going to bring our legs out, top of the mat. Fingertips will come just on the top of our thighs below our knees, so we can grip in as we roll very, very slowly down to the ground. And we're going to do a supine twist here, or go straight to happy baby, whichever one feels good for you and your body and what you're looking for today. If you're looking for a supine twist, the right knee will come into the chest. You'll hold it with the left hand. The right hand will go to the sky, and you'll bring the right knee across the body. As the right knee gets close to the ground, the right hand will go out to the opposite side, and your gaze will move over your right fingers. If you're lying down and you want to move to happy baby, it's just bringing your feet up into your chest, gripping onto the pads of your feet, and just rocking around here and rocking up. If you're in the twist and your knee's floating in the air, you might tuck your toes behind the left knee, which just gives it a nice anchor point. And coming back to center, grip that right knee into the chest and then extend it out. Left knee floats up into your chest. And again, the two variations. Left hand to the sky as the right hand brings the left knee across the body towards the ground. And don't squish any microphone packs on the way. And tuck the toes if the left knee is floating. Bring the left hand down to the ground and gaze over the fingers. If you're feeling more chilled out, again back to a happy baby or just a nice rocking position. Or moving straight to your Savasana. And coming back from center, left knee will go to the edge of the mat. Hands will move down by your sides. And you'll move into more of your nice Savasana place. Yeah, any happy baby, pull up your knees into your chest, whatever feels good. Go for it now, it's your time. And when you're ready, start rocking back. I'm just going to turn these lights off. And just start to center in. As you arrive onto your mat, your hands are up if you're looking to receive, or down if you want to grip and get some grounding. But come into yourself here. Breathe into your space and let everything go. Feel your body unwind. Feel it relax. Feel everything melt away. With our attention on that heart space that we firmed into earlier, keeping it there, and almost imagine these wonderful currents of air blowing past us, lifting us up, taking us on these wonderful whimsical adventures, taking everything else away that's not necessary. And sometimes air can bring in these wondrous storms that can feel intense and full on, but as they clear, remember that wonderful moment as you see the sky sparkling, the wonderful smells in the air, and just the sense of complete and utter renewal. And let your breath be your guide as it brings in your renewal and your sense of peace. And like a nice gust of wind, let it bring you back into yourself. Slowly coming back into your body. Feeling your feet, maybe wiggling your toes. Feeling that nice connection up through your calves, your knees, these legs that are always moving and always carrying us or always doing something. I heard on the weekend someone say that if our legs were like anything, they would be like a person with ADD because they always just need to move and function and do something. And this is the one time they lie down and really don't do a lot, apart from sleeping. But during the day, they're always moving or doing something or moving around for us. As you come back into your body and you move your hands and your arms and your shoulders, and just start to gently move onto your right side, rolling into a little ball there. And then slowly coming up and back and into a nice seated position. Arrive back onto your mat. As we come back here, I'm just going to invite you to raise your hands up one last time with us, fingertips above our heads. Let the fingertips touch, and on a long, beautiful exhale, bring your hands down so your thumbs rest back into your heart center, back into that place that we pressed into. Then we can bring our attention to, for the rest of the day, bring our connection into this space, into this moment. And I invite you, for no matter what happens through the rest of the day, just dial back into your breath. Let the flow of that air moving in and out bring you back to this wonderful present moment and the feelings that you feel inside. The calmness, the stillness. So I hope. And just the serenity. I want to thank you for taking the time to flow with me. For everyone at home, and for everyone here in the office giving up your lunch break to flow. I want to hope that you all have a wonderful day. And let this energy carry you through today and tonight and anything that life throws at you. I hope it's all amazing and taken with grace and peace. Thank you all for flowing with me. Look forward to seeing you again soon. Namaste. Namaste, motherfuckers. That bit gets edited out. Yeah. There you go.
Stay away, Stay away. Thank you.
That one was a bit different. Yeah, a little sleep.